In today's episode, we're talking about how real estate marketing has changed in 2024.
NextWaveDV is the story of our journey growing Creative Edge Productions from a tiny studio in my basement to one of the leading video marketing agencies in the Midwest. So join us on our continuing mission of mastering video marketing.
Welcome back to the Mastering Video Marketing Podcast. I'm Tony Reale, and today we have a very special guest.
Greg Dallaire Realty in Green Bay.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Greg.
You're welcome.
So we have Greg here because Ben is actually on paternity leave, so you can wish him well on that. He just had a new baby, but I thought it'd be a great time to have a guest. And Greg, you're a client, you're a friend, you're just a fellow marketing expert, and I thought it'd be great to have you come in and we can just chat about stuff. So, Dallaire Realty is your company, and you work with the Wisconsin market to help your clients find houses, sell houses. People understand realty, but what I really love and respect about the work that you do is you're very, very aware of the digital marketing front and the needs and the differences that are happening today. I think there are a lot of realtors that are not as familiar with it. They're used to old school marketing. It's worked in the past. They continue at it, and they kind of maybe are dismissive of it. And you and I both know that more and more people are online only. They're looking at these platforms like Instagram, like TikTok, as their main place to go to get information. It used to be that people could Google and maybe your stuff from other platforms would show up. Now the other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they're refining their search engines so well that people can just stay on the platform. So if you aren't present on those platforms, your stuff's just not going to show up.
Yeah, I think there's also a massive opportunity to leverage those platforms to be able to really build a brand over time, and you've been able to help us do that and be more consistent at it. But the great thing is an independent brokerage like ourselves can actually almost have a bigger presence than some of the national companies because we leverage technology. I've been extremely blessed and fortunate to have this what I would say is being able to see the future, and I've been always on the cutting edge of technology from, CRM and websites and other things. And I've seen the power of social media. I've also seen the negativity of social media and what it can kind of do to your mind. But I also understand there's a lot of people that are locked in to social media, doom scrolling and things. So if you're not positioning your brand on those platforms, you're really missing out. And like you said, you're kind of touching on the evolution of social becoming more of a search platform in itself. And if you're not really taking advantage of that, you're missing a huge opportunity. I think you see a ton of people jumping into the space, but it's about the consistency of it. It's a long-term play. It's not always, everybody wants that short-term rush and hit of, oh my gosh, I sold 27 more houses because of the social media content. And I'm happy to dive into kind of our experiences with that, the positives, the negatives, and but overwhelmingly, if it wasn't because of Facebook, and we've been advertising on Facebook we started our company in 2011, and we've been consistently advertising with them for 13, 14 years. And obviously we're even increasing that. And I would say that if it wasn't because of Facebook, I don't think as many people in Green Bay and the surrounding areas would really know who we are. So we're really fortunate with that. I love going into appointments and anyone that we're meeting with, I have a couple meetings tomorrow to list some people's homes, I can guarantee you they've been seeing our omnipresence, on the social media. And it's really important, and thanks to you guys and really allowing us to take it to the next level.
Well, you obviously post new houses and tours and stuff like that, which a lot of people think that's enough. I did social media, I did my thing. The thing we often say is people are going to Google, they're going to social media platforms, asking questions that they have. And, if you don't have content out there, the analogy we use all the time is imagine somebody walked in the front door of your business and said, hey, let's say they came into your location. They said, hey, I got a question about, houses in the Green Bay market. And you're like, sorry, we don't answer questions here, but if you go down the road, our competition would be more than happy to help you. That would be stupid. You would never do that. And yet that's exactly what businesses do when they have no content marketing out there that answers those questions that people have. And obviously you're going to have people that come across you that are outside your market. That's inevitable when you're doing content marketing. But the truth is, if you're able to refine your answers to your demographic, to your region, and answer specific questions that people have in that area. So instead of just saying, what's the real estate market right now, you're focusing what's the real estate market in Northeast Wisconsin. And people that are looking for that type of content is going to, because you get it. The markets are different than they are in Chicago or New York or something
Sure.
like that. So those questions are relevant. It's not just a general, how's the market in 2024? It's very, very regional. And so when you have specialized questions, you're answering those things that people are genuinely wanting to know. And it might not turn into a sale right now, but it develops brand recognition and it develops a comfort. What amazes me sometimes is, and I challenge you to think about this in your head. Imagine the content that you've watched. There's probably an influencer or a guru or something like that you've watched their content so many times that you feel like you know the person before you've ever met them. And then you meet them in person, you almost have like a cavalier feeling because I know you, right? I've seen your stuff, I know you. And yet you probably may have never met them before. But that's what good content marketing can do. How many people have come up to you and feel like they know you when you have never met them in person yet?
It's probably the most powerful thing, and I think a lot of people miss the opportunity, myself included. I've been stuck in the push marketing genre for quite a while. I would say we're definitely experts on that, and I don't think that's the right approach. I think there's a place for it, maybe in the ad space, but from an educational perspective, like you said, the influencers that you really pay attention to are providing quality educational content, giving it all away for free. It's kind of like the Gary Vaynerchuk, jab, 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 right hook, type of process. And it's extremely difficult to do because you have to be consistent at it. And obviously, thankfully, there's companies out there that can help you be consistent at these types of things. But yes, the attraction model. You want to attract, like the Alex Hormozy, if you follow any of his, books, $100 million, leads, $100 million offers, that's his whole approach. And he's actually practices what he preaches and launches and has these mega opportunities. But yeah, make sure that the educational content, which is definitely a long-term strategy, but from an attraction model, getting somebody to actually, like you said, already know you ahead of time takes the sales process and basically crumples it up. We're always trying to, defeat a used car salesman. Everyone that interacts with us feels like we're going to try to sell them something. But if we can truly educate them and consult them on the process, and then they realize, oh, this guy isn't really full of BS. He tells it like it is, and he provides us with great data on making decisions. Then they're more likely to refer us to more people that could use our help. And that's super important. But I am so blessed to be born in this time. I know you are as well, because we've been able to leverage these tools to really grow our businesses. And now we have a ton of people on the teams where we help them achieve their goals. And going back to 2011, did I think I'd have 14 agents, 3 full-time employees, and this support system for our team around us that all of our agents can have a better life? No, but a lot of that is from the consistency. And people are like, well, how did you do it? Well, we've been consistent, and I've had Mike Wasselkoff, one of our team leaders who's been with me forever, pour into me the importance of consistency. Because if we're not going to be consistent at something, we're not going to do it. And consistency is the key in this game, especially when it comes to social media marketing, educational content. And then the other great thing is repurposing all of this stuff into other channels. And thankfully, I have support staff, and I have leverage through great video companies and et cetera to help make it a little bit easier. But a lot of this can be done on a different scale too. It's not like you have to go to the far end of the spectrum. I see value in the leverage of that, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You can do a lot of this stuff. You've even taught me how to do a ton of things that you can do on your own. It's not just about leveraging the talent, but I do see massive value in that, especially for somebody who maybe won't be consistent, but they see the value in it and they really have a good message. It's super important, but our brand would not be where it is without the consistency of social media, and then using advertising to enhance that, and being omnipresent with the people that we actually are kind of in our funnel. And we know that in our business in real estate, typically people browse for 6 to 24 months before they do anything, and that's totally fine. Obviously we want to enable them to get as much valuable information from us through that nurturing process. We just want them to reach out to us when they're ready. And we've been pretty good at that consistently. And it's been rewarding, and it kind of almost snowballs over time, you know?
Yeah. Like we bought land years ago and planning on building a house eventually on it. And I was looking recently into like, maybe we want to do a hot tub or a swim spa or something like that, and kind of debating, okay, what are the advantages of both? And went on YouTube, did a search, and I had a bunch of local out of our area, but local shops had like answers to pros and cons of each of them. And again, I'm just thinking of like that type of content. Whoever was the first to do it or did the best job at it rose to the top. And there's plenty of videos out there that have 50, 100,000 views that are answering this question because they were the first one to do it or the best one to do it at the time. And that's one of the, even though there is a lot of content out there, if you can still produce it, you can either do a better job of it, or you can, create just, updated stuff, or again, focusing on your region. So instead of going after real estate at the country level, you can go into your state or your region, the area that you're going after, answer those specific questions that people have. And in a lot of the omnipresent ads that we did for you, that was our main thing. Like in Northeast Wisconsin, in the Green Bay area, what are the things that people are looking for? What are the top trends? What are how to approach selling your house? How to approach buying a house? All those types of things, the main questions that people have. You did a great job of just starting to hammer at those and really create a good library of content for people so that they can just fundamentally have most of their curiosities answered. Because in that water testing period that people have, there's those people that are just like, should I even buy? Should I even sell? Mm-hmm. And when you can give them comfort and confidence in that as they're creeping towards that decision, you've now partnered with them. You've created that brain space in your brand that allows them to have like you were the guru that gave them the confidence to make that decision. And so when they're ready to then buy, it's like, I really want to work with him because he that's a part of me now, that you're associated with that life-changing moment that they've come to a decision with. And it's really important. And so many people don't get that one-on-one interaction. Like when we do a sales process with one of our clients, you're there, you're shaking hands, you're answering questions, you get the feedback, you get the facial, like, okay, are they jiving with this? They like it. That's part of the sales process. And if you like sales, great. But when you're doing online marketing and content marketing, you never get that opportunity. Somebody is sitting back watching your content and you never get to see them unless they've now converted and they want to interact with you. So again, creating, I encourage a lot of people, get comfortable and get content out there. Just start making content so you can get more comfortable. I watched some of your earlier stuff. If you watch any of my earlier stuff, you'll see I've gotten better and more comfortable on camera over the years because you just get better at it. You get more familiar with it. And that stuff, having that library of a good personality, having stuff that you're very comfortable with, eventually you're going to have such a wide library of content that you'll answer all their questions. You'll have just a really good presence. And, in marketing, we talk a lot about social proof, the importance of for you, your social proof can be, what are your reviews on Google? What are some customer testimonials that you have? Your library of houses that you're currently selling and ones that you've sold in the past. But just your content marketing alone, how many videos do you have out there? What kind of a social media presence you have? That in and of itself is its own brand level of social proof. And even if people aren't watching your stuff, if they see there's a huge library of stuff, that makes them feel comfortable to be like, all right, maybe I'm going to call this person, maybe I'm not, but I'm going to at least watch one of their videos and get a feel for who they are and what they're like.
Yeah, you're right, because we've, over time grew our platforms. There was a time where we weren't on TikTok, and, it's one of those things that you can get sucked into and spend a lot of time on TikTok, but we had a new agent interview yesterday, and I was actually pulled up our TikTok, and he was actually kind of surprised that we were on there. And we have, over time, we've grown a couple thousand followers. We've been very, very consistent. And thankfully, the content that we use in this, we try to always repurpose it. We want to put it in as many places as possible and optimize that. But yeah, like you said, getting in front of the camera, like normally in even settings like this, most people's heart would be pounding through their chest. And thankfully, I've had an opportunity to give back to the real estate community and do some talks about, I can talk about things I'm passionate about, like technology, and I love giving back to the community, the real estate community. But practice is the key. I was doing videos in 2009 and 10, way too ahead of the curve on video. still laugh about it to this day, and those videos are still on YouTube and they're still getting views. And yeah, it was part of my persona back then, but definitely made me more comfortable. But I would say what made me really, really comfortable was the coaching, because I think a lot of people in Green Bay know that I'm very technologically savvy, and I've been consistently doing these things. But I would say the coaching that you and Ben really provided that in the studio was paramount. I remember I'll share with everyone, and it was like noon, and I was like, hey, I want to go. Like, I was sweating bullets, I was uncomfortable, but it was the coaching and the, really putting yourself in the mind of the consumer. You guys really helped with that, because typically salespeople usually like to spew sales breath at people. And on these types of videos, it's not what you really want to go after. You really want to educate. And we always have a tendency to, jam it in there. It's just kind of, it's innate in our DNA, but it's also what will detract people from you potentially. So, like you said, getting content, getting comfortable with it. There are people out there that obviously can help you. I think there's a lot of value in the coaching, live coaching. And it was definitely, obviously you do a lot of it, but I felt like, oh my gosh, like I got more value out of the live coaching in the studio than, even just the film production is obviously the top of the line film production, but the coaching was actually as valuable to me, if not more.
Awesome. And you've done a great job of then taking that content, because when we were putting those together, we put together a variety of just value-based ads. So or value-based content that you could then upload to those shorts and reels platforms. But then we did an omnipresent campaign, which is something that we haven't talked about on the podcast yet, but we're definitely going to do an episode about it. But being able to create content that was at its base level, just pure value. And then what we can do is we can use the platforms to create retargeting campaigns, so that people that have already seen your stuff and gotten the value from it then can go into the call to action ads. Because a lot of times, as we just talked about, that jab, right, punch approach, where if you're trying to go for the call to action right away, or if you're trying to be too salesy initially in your approach, it'll turn people off. Like, you have to lead with the free stuff. A lot of times in service-based industries for years, it was always like, we'll give you the first half of the step, or the little teaser of like, here's what you need to do, but for the rest of it, you got to call us and you got to sign up. Today, the expectation, because there's so much free content out there, is you really have to give away the entirety of the process. But what you then sell is the implementation. And a lot of times people think that like we need to have the secret sauce, that people need to come to us for the secret sauce. No, really what you need to be good at is that implementation. How fast can you get results for your customers? How good are you at the results? How better are your results? Whatever those might be, that's the thing that you're selling. The process is really something that you just have to give away. You have to share it and allow people to understand it, because the better that they understand the process, we do this in our Video Pathfinder webinar, where we explain everything from how to do effective social media content, like organic content, and also how we create our ads. So literally, you could watch the Video Pathfinder webinar and go do it on your own if you wanted to. But in that, you should understand the complexities of it, how much work it is to effectively do it, and then, of course, the years of experience that we've had in doing it, so that we can fix problems, adapt to them, optimize for better results, and hopefully that understanding of all of the work that's involved with it will then make you go, okay, yeah, I'd rather work with somebody, and because these guys explained everything to me, I feel much more comfortable working with them. Again, same thing with you. A lot of your content is like, these are the things that you need to approach. This is how we do our real estate social media marketing. You've given it away, you've explained it, but it's still a lot of work. And for the average person to go and do it, they now understand the importance of it because of giving away the process. And then now you've developed that comfort level with people, so that they go, well, I want to work with this guy because he's made me understand the importance of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get sucked into it. And I did back in 2008, 2009. I was really focusing on building our website, building our blogs, building our social authority, or our SEO and all those things. And I was so focused on that, where I wasn't focused on the core competencies in business, and that was finding qualified customers and booking appointments. And when I kind of transitioned away from taking on all of that website management and really hired a much better company for that. It was like a rocket ship taking off. I use the word leverage. I think it's a very scary thing. I think there's a ton of coaches out there that are saying, hey, do this content, do all of these things. But if you're stuck in the video editing, if you're stuck in all of the implementation of posting to all the networks, optimizing all those things, I do think that you need leverage. You need tools and teams. Yes, you can do a lot of content on your phone. I think it's a great place to start. But if you want to get to another level of it, I think that having leverage of it, because what happens is if you try to take it all in-house without having staff, which obviously there's cost of that, it becomes a very dangerous spot. And I think you can get yourself in trouble because you're focusing on things that you think you're going to make you money, or when they're actually costing you money because you're not focusing on your dollar productive activities.
Right. Well, Ben uses the analogy a lot of like, if you go to you go to a checkup with your doctor, you might go to your general practitioner, but like if you have like a problem with your spine or your kidney or something, you're going to go to a specialist, somebody that is familiar with that specific line of medical stuff and has more experience with it, can hopefully answer questions that a general practitioner might not have. And in a similar vein, like anybody can pick up a phone and shoot something, but are they going to have a good hook? Is it going to be a good catch? Are they going to hit all the beats that are important? Are they going to be too salesy? All that type of stuff. And those are the things that we try to hunt down and try and coach and make sure that the content is then.
And you will be too salesy. 100%. You will. It's just a natural thing, but to like rewire it and to have you guys actually help with that. Obviously you need to consume some of the content, and then you kind of start picking up on the things that you were challenging me on too. Because I tried to. Everybody think, obviously, we're extremely active as a company on social, but personally, I've been trying to, really limit my use of it. I do see negative effects of the endless scrolling. Mm-hmm. I definitely have felt the things that people talk about from excessive social media usage, and I'm sure you probably feel some of those same things. But that is also where I see a massive opportunity for companies, because the reality is people are aimlessly scrolling and in discovery mode, and something takes them off of their, they could be thinking about something, and then the next thing you know, they're scrolling videos. Next thing you know, they're going through your whole feed of videos, and then, then you see a conversion.
Yep.
And that happens time to time again. So I think there's a massive place for it, but I think there's also, you need to be conscious of your own, activities on there, especially kids,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And for me, that was a long time that I had to get over myself. Was like I had an inherent resentment to TikTok when it launched as a platform because of the main audience that they were originally going after, the twerking videos and the dance videos and all that kind of stuff. And so I had a negative connotation to that. And then when I first started using TikTok, of course, it's like, you're a guy. Here's stuff that guys typically like. And I'm like, oh, that's not what I'm going to use this platform for. It wasn't until I found out like how to actually get that stuff to not show up, which is much more complicated than it should be on TikTok. You gotta tap on a video and hold on the screen, and then a dialogue comes up for you to then say, stop showing me this content. It is not obvious. Anyways, when I finally got that to show up and I could train the algorithm to like, these are the things that I like, all of a sudden I'm getting so much more value out of this platform, and it's actually beneficial and useful for me. And that's when we started creating content for it, because it was like all I saw was this garbage content that I didn't care about, and this whole other corner of the platform having a lot of great insights and educational content and marketing tips and filmmaking, all the stuff that I care about, suddenly came to me. And so that I think is something that I've had to teach a lot of people is like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. TikTok, yes, is got a lot of rough stuff on there, but it's also can have a lot of good stuff because there are people that are using it and taking it seriously and creating content for it.
Yeah, I actually had some of the similar type of experiences in the beginning, and it was obviously a platform that we added in the last 12 months and got very consistent with it. But the interesting thing about it is that actually has been one of the ones I've got the most inbound opportunities from TikTok, and that would not have been what I would have thought. But our influence, especially with the younger generation, even my son who's 18 and his friends, I mean, it's like an army of support from those guys, supporting. But I've had a bunch of people inbound, either download our mobile app because we have some, great content about our mobile app and the importance of it and why it's different than some of the other national portals and just the accuracy of information. But I was actually kind of shocked at the amount of people that did actually download the app because of our TikTok, or they must just get into the TikTok scrolling of all of our stuff and then they find it and then,
Yeah.
you know.
And I think a part of it is because you're taking that platform seriously, where very few other realtors in this area are. They might finally go like, oh, I guess we should be on Facebook and maybe Instagram, but very few are actually taking TikTok seriously. And what's interesting to me is I was reading a statistic recently that for a lot of the younger generation, TikTok is their number one form of media consumption over everything, over streaming, over Netflix, over TV. TikTok is their way of winding down at the evening. Like, I'm going to go sit back on the couch and watch TikTok, and that baffles me because I love movies, I love television, and so that's my unwind, that's my escapism. For them, it's TikTok, and so there's this massive growing audience of people that, and it's what's even more interesting to me is when you hear that a lot of streaming companies are looking at their content, their shows, as what they would consider second screen material. They recognize that people are on TikTok so much, that's the dominant stuff, so they're putting out content purely for the sake of it to be that second screen that's on in the background. So we could get into a whole discussion about the industry-wide implications of that. But fundamentally, again, presence on a platform, being present where your audience is present. And you're doing such a great job of that because, there's so few other realtors in the area that I think are doing that at all. And beyond here's a new house that got listed, which is fine, have that stuff. But again, if you're not answering those questions, because as we talked about at the beginning, people are doing searches on TikTok, Green Bay housing market, stuff like that, where to buy a home. Those are things that people are not even doing on Google. They're not leaving the platform. They're literally doing that right in the search bar of TikTok and other platforms like that. And so if you're not present, your stuff will never show up for those people.
It's a massive opportunity for small businesses to actually, increase brand awareness. And I think it's just an awesome time to be an entrepreneur, even locally. I really think the opportunity is endless, and to get your message out has never been more cost effective, more powerful, and can happen really quickly, especially when you do a really quality job of having an educational message, but people realizing that you're not just a douchey realtor who's trying to just make a sale, who you're actually trying to help them make the best decision on one of the biggest purchases of their life is super important. And there are a lot of people that have commission breath in our industry, and that is their only focus. And that's why when we even add new people, we try to make sure they have a bankroll so that they don't have that financial pressure as much, because then unfortunately that does come out sometimes. But consulting people and educating people on the process and then giving them good advice when we're out in the field is what really matters. And you can obviously showcase that with, all of these platforms. And I'm just very fortunate I've been able to see it. I know you've been leveraging it. You've got an incredible studio, YouTube. I mean, like the amount of educational content you give away be proud of that. It's a lot of work, but Thanks. It's very rewarding, and you do a great job.
Well, it's been awesome having you. I really enjoyed this conversation. Now, you did talk about your app. If people are in the region and in Wisconsin and you're looking to buy a home or just looking at the housing market, tell them about the app that you guys built.
Yes, we felt there was a big need in the real estate space, especially in like northeastern Wisconsin. There's a lot of like national portals that have apps that are really good. The problem is you are basically the customer on that portal. They're trying to make properties look like they're available, and I kind of got really sick of the inaccuracy of information. So we created a mobile app, has push notifications. It's very educational. There's a ton of stuff about budgeting. It actually has a vendor portal where we have trusted vendors that we actually use. And if we ever have issues with some of them, we'll take them out of there. More importantly, the actual home search aspect is incredibly fast, incredibly accurate, but more importantly, it tells you the true status of the property front and center. Like, it is in your face. Like, the property is under contract or not. And when we do actually set up searches for people, we are showing them the ones that are actually available that are not under contract. And I get why the national portals do it. They're trying to sell opportunities to realtors. So like, you are the customer on those apps. Shop local. The technology of the app is incredible. And we have it on the App Store and in the Google Play Store. So
awesome. Well, thanks, Greg, for coming. Really appreciate it, and hopefully we can have you again in the near future.
Yeah, look forward to it. I really appreciate being here, and I always love giving back to the community.